story, Freedom Within. From a very young age, Elijah had always felt that he was different. While his friends enthusiastically talked about girls, crushes, and dreams of starting families with a wife and kids, Elijah remained silent, smiling awkwardly as he quietly drifted further from a reality that didn't feel like his own. Deep inside, he always knew something about him did not align with what the world expected. But in the conservative neighborhood where he was raised, such thoughts were considered taboo, or worse, sinful. His family was deeply rooted in traditional values. His father, a stern and proud man who had served in the military, always emphasized the importance of honor, discipline, and masculinity. His mother, kind but submissive, was molded by a culture that prioritized harmony over confrontation. In that environment, Elijah learned early on to hide himself, his gestures, his interests, and especially his feelings. School was no better. Every day, he walked the halls with a growing weight in his chest. Whispers, mocking nicknames, and accusatory glances followed him like shadows. There was nowhere to run, not even in his own home. But still he smiled, acted normal, and buried his truth deeper with each passing day. When Elijah turned 18, he moved to the city for university, carrying with him not just his belongings, but years of fear and silence. The city, with its endless lights and seemingly open-minded people, initially overwhelmed him. But for the first time, he also tasted a sense of liberation. There, he met people who weren't afraid to be themselves. He encountered same-sex couples holding hands, people confidently discussing identity, and communities that embraced diversity like it was the most natural thing in the world. It was there that Elijah met Andrew, a bold, witty, and unapologetically authentic soul. Andrew saw through Elijah's carefully crafted mask and gently encouraged him to confront the parts of himself he had long denied. Their friendship blossomed into something deeper, something that terrified and exhilarated Elijah in equal measure. Coming to terms with his identity was not an overnight process. Elijah battled self-doubt, guilt, and waves of anxiety. There were nights he lay awake, haunted by thoughts of rejection. What would his family say? Would they disown him? Could he ever belong in their world again? Despite the fear, Elijah knew he could no longer live a lie. He began by opening up to his closest friends. Some embraced him wholeheartedly. Others pulled away. Each reaction, though painful at times, became a brick in the foundation of his newfound self. The most difficult part, however, was still ahead, telling his family. One winter evening, while home for the holidays, Elijah sat his parents down. His hands trembled. His voice cracked. But for the first time in his life, he spoke his truth aloud. "Mom, Dad, I'm gay." Silence filled the room like a thunderclap. His father's face hardened, eyes narrowing with confusion and anger. His mother clutched her hands tightly, looking away. The conversation that followed was painful. Words like shame, disgrace, and sin were hurled like weapons. His father stormed out. His mother sobbed. Elijah stood there, raw and exposed, but strangely free. He returned to the city with a heavy heart, but he didn't collapse. Andrew was there. His friends were there. Slowly, he rebuilt his emotional strength. He threw himself into his studies, joined LGBTQ+ advocacy groups, and began sharing his story in safe spaces. Each time he spoke, another layer of fear peeled away. Over time, something remarkable happened. His mother began reaching out. At first, it was just messages, short, awkward, and filled with questions. Then came phone calls. Eventually, she visited. She listened to him, truly listened, and though she didn't understand everything, she tried. Elijah's father remained distant, but that too he learned to accept. Years passed. Elijah graduated with honors and began working as a counselor for queer youth, dedicating his life to those who, like him, had once felt voiceless. He and Andrew moved in together, their home filled with warmth, music, and a quiet pride. One spring evening, after giving a speech at a university event, a young student approached Elijah with tears in his eyes. "Your story saved me," he whispered. Elijah smiled, remembering the frightened boy he once was. He reached out, held the student's hand, and replied, "It's your story now." In that moment, Elijah knew he had not only reclaimed his truth, he had turned it into a beacon for others. He was no longer the scared child hiding in silence. He was a man living freely, authentically, and bravely. Thank you for listening.